Got a question. Ever felt like your thoughts get tangled up? Like they make sense in your head but not out loud? Welcome to Leave It to Larremore, the space where we slow down, speak up, and sort it all out. No experts, no script, just real talk, real people, and a real understanding. I'm your host, Bryant Larremore, and together, we're untangling life, one conversation at a time. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. So this conversation really is basically about the setup of blended families. And I was kind of bombarded with a few questions on my personal take on, kind of like how the hierarchy works and kind of how I felt about how you maneuver through, the aspect of a blended family. I've been in that seat a few times. So again, no expert, but definitely experience. And, just in my opinion, I feel like if we continue the honorable hierarchy that was established, and if we're able to maintain that, I think that we'll have a clear understanding of how, in my opinion, how it goes. And I know the difficulty often is the balance between spending time with the new relationship without making your biological children feel as if you're putting that relationship before them. And that is a very, very difficult place to be, because you never want your child or your children to feel as if they're having to come second to anyone. However, if this was a conversation about you being in a relationship with their father or their mother, then it wouldn't even be as much of a question, because you would automatically expect the relationship to the kids to understand to respect their father, respect their mother. In my opinion, a lot of this goes back to who you choose to be in a relationship with. And so I feel like you should choose a person to be in a relationship with that you can trust with the vulnerability of allowing them to feel as if that person is the next most important person in the house, and the kids follow. And although I know that is a difficult thing to sometimes process, but that's how the relationship goes, because in all actuality, those children are going to establish their own families. They're going to establish their own relationships, and they're going to move on, or at least that's kind of the expectation. And so the thought process is that you honor the relationship with your spouse, and together you all raise the children. And if placed properly, I believe that the children will understand that there is an addition to the family that loves them equally. And mind you, this conversation is built around healthy relationships. This is not built around toxicity or some of the horrible experiences that we have allowed ourselves to get into. This is built around healthy, cognizant, aware people who are establishing healthy relationships and really want to know, like, are they doing a disservice to their children by considering their spouse's opinion over the children? And I believe that if we are looking at it from a realistic perspective, that is the hierarchy. I believe that it is both of those individuals' responsibility to then give that child the assurance of knowing that whatever decision is made that they don't quite understand is not for the detriment of them, but it is for the benefit of them. And again, this is in reference to healthy relationships. So if I'm being a bonus parent in the relationship, it is my job, my duty, to give the most accurate and beneficial information to all children involved within that dynamic, so that everyone is producing a healthy environment. And again, I understand that there can be a struggle between navigating that relationship, but I do believe that if you have taken the time to choose someone to establish a relationship with, surely you would not choose someone who you did not trust their opinions and thoughts over your children. Like, surely you chose someone whose thoughts and opinions were just as beneficial and good as yours, to where you could trust it enough to allow yourself, to allow them to come in and be a part of the decision-making process within the whole family unit. And so there shouldn't feel like a one-sided relationship within that dynamic. And that is, again, my opinion. I was always raised, and I'm a product of a step parent, or what I like to call bonus parent environment. And we were treated, my brother and I were treated as if we were biologically attached to who we call our father. And we seen no separation in the relationship. And he poured into us as if he was pouring into his sons, to whom he had biologically. And that is so that we had a pure understanding of love and consideration. So from that built my perspective of how healthy that environment is when you are dealing with an individual who don't just date you, who also dates your kids, from the perspective of making them involved in a relationship and not feeling as if you're pulling their parent away from them. And with those collective thoughts and those collective conversations, and the understanding that the person that you chose to be with was a cognizant decision to whom you stand behind, because it makes it for a very difficult environment when you invite an individual in a leadership role or a pedestalized position, and then allow someone else to pull them out of that position or knock them out of that position because you don't have a clear perspective of the hierarchy. Your children should not be able to disrupt the relationship that you and your spouse have, because be it biological, be it by marriage, these two individuals are the individuals who chose to come together to build and establish for the longevity's sake, because that is what "to death do us part" represents. And together we are to raise children who can become self-sufficient to start their own family. But they'll never be able to bring a rift or bring separation within this dynamic when they see us fight back to back with each other and not at each other. When the kids get a clear understanding that as a relationship, as individuals together, we build together to provide for you, it allows an understanding and a respect to be formed between it. And again, we also are looking at other elements to the relationship that have to be considered. How have the relationship dynamic been between you and your child before this individual even came to be a part of your dynamic? Have you started to set the tone, or have you as a mother to your children allowed them to feel superior? Have you as a father, a single father to your children, allowed that daughter or that son to feel superior to anybody that enters into that relationship? I believe keeping the dynamic clear, that the person that you chose is the person that you intend to build, live, and die with, is the thing that helps establish the understanding of what to expect when they see the relationship, when they see the dynamic. And that is how we further build healthy relationships, so that the next generation understands that whenever my spouse and I have a problem, the problem is the problem. My spouse is not the problem. We are not at odds with each other. It is the problem that is the problem. And together we need to find a solution for the problem. I often feel like that place is difficult to get to when both individuals are not moving in the same direction. And as we establish that understanding, then we can be a better example for our children, be it bonus children or biological children. Our job is to be the example. And within a relationship dynamic, we would hope that our offsprings would see how we maneuver through relationships, and it would encourage them to want to be in a relationship like that. What we don't want to do is promote a relationship that we don't even support. We don't want them to feel encouraged to settle in something that we are miserable in. So we need to set the example in the relationship by choosing the person that you can trust to allow them to be in the position that they are called to be in. Understanding the hierarchy of the relationship. And that hierarchy does not entail him running everything and her submitting to everything. It comes with understanding that them two together are the leaders, are the decision makers, are the core of the relationship. And everybody and everything falls under them except for God. So to the principles that we live by at Leave It to Larremore, we believe that it is God, your spouse, your children, and everything else after that. And your spouse is the person who is supposed to help you navigate through life, who is supposed to be a support system, who is supposed to be an outlet, who is supposed to be a comfort zone, who is supposed to be a safety place. Your spouse is supposed to be your place of refuge. If you don't feel that, that is time to really go into prayer and meditation and see where the broken pieces are so that that can be reestablished. Not professional, just experience. If we're able to communicate the expectations and to know exactly what it is that we want so that we don't feel like we're settling, and the feeling of settling automatically breeds a level of disrespect and disregard. Because you automatically feel superior to what you're settling for. So if you're not in a position where you feel like you're settling, then you'll strive to maintain what it is that you're after or what you have. And everyone deserves to be in the company of the people that they prefer to be around, in the environments that they prefer to be around, and to help build the village or community that they choose to establish. But in my opinion, I do believe that there's a hierarchy. And I believe that it's easier seen when there is a biological mother and a biological father who have children. It's automatically forced that those parents push the concept of respect for the other parent, and for the kid to know that those parents work together to come up with decisions that best fit the children. When we operate in a blended family, we then run into hiccups and we run into stumbling blocks and things that we did not initially consider in the beginning. And to that, we have to make adjustments. And oftentimes it puts us in a place of, am I putting my child after my spouse or my significant other? And I never want my children to feel second nature. You always want them to feel prioritized. But according to the hierarchy, you choose the person that makes you feel safe enough to allow them to have the position that allows you to be comfortable with taking their back or having their support and being their support system. I really feel like a blended family is a beautiful thing when you're able to take responsibility for something that you did not create and to love it as if you did. This is also something that a lot of times takes a lot of navigation and a lot of help. So again, we always encourage you to seek out a professional counselor or therapist that can help you navigate through those hard mazes of life in the blended family perspective. But for right now, this is Leave It to Larremore, and this conversation is one that I hope opens up some types of perspective and help you see things from a different way. And you know me, I'm always here and I'm ready to talk about it. So until next time.
Hey, appreciate you for tapping in with Leave It to Larremore. This is where thoughts get untangled and understanding gets built. Remember, you don't need a title to have a voice, and you don't need all the answers to start the conversation. If something from today's episode made you think, hit that follow button, share with somebody, and keep the convo going. I'm Brian Larremore, and until next time, keep thinking and keep talking and keep growing. This is Leave It to Larremore.